What's up, guys? Today we're finally going to be taking down Raphael in what a lot of people would consider the hardest fight in the game. Raphael is definitely an enemy worthy of our respect, so we're pulling out all the stops this time. Before the fight starts, we want to throw a potion of speed down so we can use it later without having to waste a bonus action. Then we cast invisibility so we can get Raphael here without starting the fight. To start things off, we're going to pop elixirs of Dragonborn Prowess and Dwarven Resilience. These give us the all-important fire resistance and a boost to saving throws, which is useful to avoid getting charmed by Raphael's legendary action. We cast Protection from Good and Evil just because it is a concentration spell, which procs our ring. After that, we use Gloves of the Automaton to cast Circuitry Interface on ourselves, which gives us advantage on attacks for 10 turns. Then we can equip our real gloves. Next, we cast Enlarge, which gives us an extra 1d4 per swing, and we drink a potion of invisibility so that we can get a surprise turn to start the fight. Now, instead of coating our weapons with poison this time, we'll coat them with Oil of Accuracy because Raphael is super hard to hit and he resists poison. Off screen, we lowered our health to 60 to activate our helmet, giving us an extra bonus action. We grabbed the Resonance Stone to double our psychic damage, and for this fight, we actually went to the trouble of reclassing to Sorcerer just to twin cast our elemental weapon buff so that both of our weapons could do an extra 1d4 thunder damage per swing. So our strategy for this fight is the same as always. Knock the bad guy on his butt so he can't use his legendary action, and then start hammering away. Raphael's legendary action is particularly annoying because it prevents you from attacking him for 2 turns while he runs around healing off of his statues. Now, while we could rely on the OP prone status for the whole fight, we need to defeat Raphael quickly to avoid his phase 2 mechanics and so that we can start dealing with his backup since their damage racks up over time. To that end, we're going to use our Scroll of Hold Monster. This stops Raphael from moving for a turn and makes every attack a critical strike. After such a gruesome mauling by our little dwarf, Raphael is pretty much out of the fight. So now our major concern is just not dying. Since we don't need to squeeze out every ounce of damage anymore, we can go ahead and heal up with our health potions on our turn. With the tankiness we get from our ridiculous AC, combined with our fire resistance, we'll be able to wipe the floor with these campions, so there's not much left to say about this fight, so I'll just go ahead and transition to my thoughts on the encounter as a whole. So what can I say? This is a legendary boss fight. Music is good, the storyline is good, Raphael actually has a good and intimidating legendary action with an AC stat and a health pool to actually make for a superb enemy. For thematics, gameplay, funness, and difficulty, I have to say, this fight has it all. It's a 10 out of 10, probably the best fight in the game. Now, in one of my previous videos, I said that Moonrise Towers was the hardest fight in the game, in my opinion, and I received a lot of comments respectfully disagreeing, and some people cited this fight as their top contender for hardest fight. At the time, I hadn't done this fight yet on Honor Mode, so I couldn't say for certain whether they were right or wrong, or, whether I agreed or not. So now that I've done the fight, what's my opinion? Well, I gotta say, I still think Moonrise is harder. At the end of the day, it really just boils down to one thing. The itemization and build quality in Act 3 is just straight up ridiculous. As you can see in this fight, I basically just walked into the full swarm of enemies and beat down Raphael with his whole crew breathing down my neck. Now, that being said, I do think it's close, and if you think this fight is the hardest in the game, then you know what? You might be right, and maybe after a couple more playthroughs, I might agree with you. But for right now, I think the limited resources and limited builds you have in Act 2 make the Moonrise Towers fight slightly more difficult for most builds. So what would I change about this fight? Well, If you don't just beat the boss mechanics out of him like we did here, Raphael actually has a true form where he is an ascended demon. If there was anything that I would change about this fight, I would make it so that you had to see that form. Instead of activating it after you destroy all the pillars, how about if you kill him without breaking them all, they just spontaneously combust and he revives with some or all of his health in his ascended form, similar to the Apostle of Merkel fight. There might need to be some rebalancing so the fight doesn't end up being too difficult, but overall I think that would be a fun change. Besides that, I think the fight is pretty good as is. And that's about it for this video. But Act 3 is not yet over, so if you want to be notified when the next fight is out, feel free to subscribe to the channel. If you want to see more from this character, check out my solo dwarf playlist. That's it. I'll see you guys in the next one.